A group of friends find themselves trapped in a remote and hidden location, an eerie place where darkness reigns and escape is impossible. Reality twists at every turn, and behind every wall lurks an unknown horror. This is not just a haunted place. It is a death trap, offering its victims only the illusion of survival. By the time they realize whether what they are experiencing is real or an illusion, it is already too late. An unseen force is breaking them, playing with their minds. Every night new faces change, and every morning someone is missing. Will this place turn them against each other, or will it consume them entirely? The only question that remains, will anyone survive? Or has this place already become their final resting ground? One dark night, Alex, Sarah, Josh, Emily, and Ryan were driving through a dense forest on a road trip. When their car ran out of gas, they hoped to find help nearby. However, the place they chose was an abandoned village, filled only with silence and the stench of death. In the middle of the forest stood an old mansion, its windows flickering with light. With no other option, they decided to spend the night there. As soon as they opened the door, an icy gust of wind rushed past them. Inside, everything was rotting, as if untouched for decades. Strange things began happening on the very first night. Alex heard whispers in his ear, but no one was there. Sarah found an old photograph that eerily depicted their own shadows, even though the picture was ancient. Ryan discovered a door that hadn't been there before, and when he tried to open it, a dark figure stood inside. Reality was twisting. One night, Josh saw Emily crying, but when he touched her hand, blood dripped from her fingers. She whispered, "I can never leave. I have always been here." The next moment, she stood there smiling, as if nothing had happened. The next day, they found another mysterious door. Inside was a massive hall with a ringing bell. As soon as they stepped in, the door slammed shut behind them. Darkness swallowed them whole. Then, a voice echoed, "You cannot leave." One by one, they started disappearing. Josh was the first. He claimed to see an exit, but when the others followed, they found only a bottomless pit. Sarah lost her voice completely, as if her words had been stolen. Alex found an altered version of his photograph. His face had vanished, leaving only a dark shadow. Ryan discovered an old diary, written 50 years ago. The last entry read, "I am trapped here. This place is killing me over and over again." When they checked the author's name, it read, Ryan. Was this his fate? Alex and Emily got separated, but when Emily reappeared, Ryan insisted he had just been talking to her. Then another Emily stepped out saying, "I am the real one, don't touch her." Who was real and who was an illusion? They stumbled upon a secret underground chamber, covered in aged photographs, all depicting them. Each one was labeled deceased. Who had taken these pictures? Had they been here before? Alex found a door leading them outside, back to the hotel, but just as they stepped out, his phone rang. The screen displayed, "Don't leave. You are already outside." Every night, a ghost chased them. But one night, Emily saw its face and screamed, because it was the face of one of them. Had one of them been dead from the start? By the time they started understanding what was happening, everything had changed. The doors had shifted, the paths had vanished, and the people they thought were real, perhaps they had never existed at all. Alex and Ryan decided to search for more clues, hoping to find a way out. They found a locked room in the mansion's basement. Inside, there was an old projector. When they played the film, they saw footage of themselves entering the mansion, but the timestamp showed it was recorded 50 years ago. Emily reappeared, but she seemed different. Her voice echoed strangely. Her eyes flickered like static on a broken TV screen. She told them, "This is not the first time. We have been here before." Memories started flooding back. Images of past versions of themselves, trapped in this house, repeating the same events over and over. Each time they tried to escape, but they always ended up back where they started. Alex and Ryan realized that the mansion itself was alive, feeding on their fear. It manipulated time, creating endless loops of horror. No one had ever truly left. Suddenly, the walls started shifting. The house was erasing their existence. Alex grabbed Ryan's arm, pulling him toward the front door, but the hallway stretched endlessly, trapping them in a never-ending maze. A voice whispered in Alex's ear, "You are already dead. Accept it." Ryan screamed as the floor beneath him gave way. He fell into darkness, his body dissolving into shadows. Alex turned around, only to find himself face to face with himself. The doppelganger smiled. "It's your turn now." The mansion's door suddenly swung open. Alex ran outside, gasping for breath. He found himself back at the car, parked on the side of the road. The others were inside, laughing as if nothing had happened. Was it all a nightmare? As he got into the car, his phone buzzed. A new message appeared on the screen. "Welcome back. It starts again." The road ahead twisted into darkness, and the mansion's windows flickered once more. The nightmare was far from over. But then, another twist. Alex refused to accept this fate. He smashed his phone and ran into the woods, hoping to escape the cycle. The trees whispered his name, voices distorted like a broken radio. Ryan suddenly appeared, but his eyes were hollow. "You can't leave," Ryan murmured. "We belong to it now." A deafening siren echoed, shaking the ground. The village was no longer abandoned. Shadows moved within houses, watching them. The mansion's front door stood wide open, welcoming them back. Alex turned to run but stopped when he saw Sarah, standing by the road staring blankly. Her skin was cracked like old porcelain, and black tears dripped from her eyes. "Alex," she whispered, "come home." The mansion wasn't just haunted, it was alive, feeding on them, bending their reality to keep them trapped forever. It wasn't just a house, it was their grave.